Okay, you guys. It's time I made this vlog. Those of you that don't stream with Cernos personally know we had a little dog. Her name was Alice. And she was our kid because we can't have kids. So we wrapped our life around her. And everything that she wanted to do, to go somewhere, she always got what she wanted. She was a brat, and that's what we called her. And I'm sorry, you guys. I have let myself go. The depression is killing me. I don't know. I don't know what to do. So what happened? We had took her to the vet for. She had to have a knot removed off of her side or something. Wasn't anything major, just in and out her usual. And so the vet called, and the doctor was like, one of the doctors was like, "Have you noticed a limp on Alice?" And I said, "Yes." Like, she's been like that for a few years. I said, the vets has, x-rayed her and looked at her and said that she's fine. So she said, "Well, I'm going to go ahead and do an x-ray and find out what's wrong with her." And I said, "Okay, that's fine." I said, do what y'all need to do. And you guys know we spent mega money on this dog. And all of my dogs. Jezebel, the first one, Sandy, and then Alice. And now we've got Millie. And Millie is named after Alice. Because when we adopted Alice from the Hackill shelter, that was her shelter name, was Millie. So they told us to go back that evening and picked her up. And the doctor was supposed to call me, and she never did. And then I can't remember the exact timeline on this stuff. I've got her records here and all the emails. And I've just got to sort everything and get it together. But so many of you guys are like, tell me, you've been wanting to know, so here it is. So went to pick her up, everything was fine. And then we took her for a checkup. And a different doctor came in. And he was like, "Well, has she ever been checked for Lyme disease?" And I said, "Not that I know of." I said, "Nobody's offered it, and nobody said she needs it. Nobody has said anything." And I said, "Even when I had it, the doctor refused to test me for it, but said that the symptoms I had and the markings, the circle, and everything was diagnostic of Lyme disease." He gave me antibiotic and sent me on my merry way. So it did come back that she did have Lyme disease. And here's her pedigree. And I can tell you, she is by far the most perfect dog I have ever been around or ever had. I mean, and I've been around a lot of dogs, a whole lot of them, in my lifetime working at the vet. And but she she had um she was amazing. She was amazing. It looks like here the reason why I took her to the vet was because she needed a tooth pull. That's what it was. And so I should have sat down and read through this and put little sticky notes on marks on areas. But what I can do is take a picture of um, each um, take a picture of each people and do like a like a slideshow on YouTube. Here is one of the disturbing things that um, I, I discovered in her medical records. It says no new concerns. It says owner says patient mostly limps after laying around for a while. Does think supplements and payments have helped a lot though, but will need to continue meds as needed and repeat blood work next year. That was November of 2022, and they have it down here marked November 2023. A year. Keep that in mind. So I'm the type of person, if I'm taking my uh, dog to a vet, okay, I've worked in a vet. I know the shady shit that can be done. So I remain nice. And I I I would email because it's a busy vet. It really was. And I would email. Those are all the emails that's got to go in her file. And because I want to get everything sorted by date. So I'm just going to fast forward to one morning. We got up and she wasn't acting right at all. She was not feeling right, acting right, or anything. And Daryl told me, he said she's having seizures. Well, by the time we got her loaded in the truck and out to the vet, she was walking around and fine. It was like she just woke up from a really, really good sleep. She was fine, wagging her tail, but she didn't like the doctor. And so then but before the doctor walked into the room, she goes, wow, Alice is in immaculate health for her age. She was 11. And I said, yeah. I said, we feed her top of the line dog food. 90% of the time I actually make her food. I make sure that I pay attention to her skin, her eyes, her nails, everything about her body. I keep an eye on. And so that's when the doctor said that about her being in immaculate health. Um, and I'm just going to insert this in here so I don't forget it. Before, um, after Alice died, I called the vet back and asked them nicely. I've got the emails. I got every single one of them jokers copied off, printed off, saved. I said, can the doctor go back in her records and add that in her record that Alice was in immaculate health for her age? Their response was no. And I'm like, well, it seems like to me that, that would be something needed, should she have to see another doctor. And if she wasn't going to say it, why wasn't she willing to print it, is what I'm saying. It's like, I'm talking to you guys here now. If I say something about whatever, I'm not afraid to write it down and send it to you. I mean, it's just, which you guys would know, y'all know what I'm getting at. And it tears me alive. It does. So we get Alice out from under the bench. The doctor starts examining her. She gets on the floor, and the 2 knots on the back of the hips of the dog. She took her thumbs and she dug them in there real deep, and Alice kind of flinched like that. And I told that doctor, I said, she's never done that before. Never. She has never had a limp. She has never had anything to do with her hind leg. I said she has had the limp with the front leg, but not her hind. From that day on, she continued to have a limp in her back legs. I'm just going to fast forward because I'm at 11 minutes here and something. So then that night she started to have one again, except this one was a little bit worse. And we get to the vet, and me and Daryl's talking on the way out there. I said, let's just put her down. I was like, but to us, we could see she was suffering, but to the vet, they didn't see what we saw. And we got her there, and you could tell she was exhausted. And I told the doctor, I said, we just need to put her down. I said, she's had enough. And I think this was January 29th. I will go back and do a slideshow of all of the information. And so she said, well, I can't justify putting her down. She's, up and walking around. And Daryl goes, she is, because she's having seizures, but they're getting worse. And so then, we told her, we see her all day. She doesn't. So then another nurse came in, and then they both went out and told us to make a decision. The one technician came in, and she looked at me and Daryl, and she said, if you want to surrender her to us, you can, and we can do further research on her to find out what's wrong with her. We've spent $4,000 in 1 month on that dog. I have all of her receipts, every single one. And the receipts, you get an itemized receipt. I always like my itemized receipts. The receipts, half of these are not even in her medical records. Where are they? So I looked up at her and I said, what do you think we're paying you money for? I told her, I said, I got a $30,000 credit card. Get with it. So she left, and then they both came in. This was 10 after 7. They closed at 7. And from what I was told, there was 5 people there, 5 employees. Okay, and I'm going to say grossly that those 5 employees, I'm just well over the amount, those 5 employees made $50 an hour. So I'm saying $250, help $500 out of my pocket. Give us time. This is a life here. And that doctor has the nerve to look at us and say, and I wish Daryl was in here. He's sleeping right now. He's having a hard time too. She had the nerve to look at us and say, it's 10 after 7 and I'm paying employees. You need to make your mind up. And just amount of anger that rushed through my body when she said that, I wasn't going to put her down then. I said, nope. I looked at her and I said, you know what? Comfort measures only. She will not go under here. I can tell you that right now. So then, we took her back for a checkup. Still doing the same. I had to take her to the vet every week for Neurontin. What's up with Neurontin? Okay, come on. It's not like, I don't know. What was the problem? What was the problem? I don't understand it. I don't get it. So we got her Neurontin. She's happy, happy-go-lucky. We get up one morning, a Sunday morning, February 12th, and she acts fine. No, the day before, she was fine. That Saturday, the 11th of February, she was fine. She was playing, running through the house, having a blast. We went on the yard, walked around. I like to talk to her about the shrubs and stuff. She loves stuff like that. And I told her, I was like, we got to get ready. We got another month. We got to put our order in for our plants. Next morning, we get up about 8:39, and she's not acting right. She's not eating right. By then, I was only giving her a little bit of water, and she was a 60-pound dog. One of the doctors told me to feed her only a quarter cup of food for the entire day, for 24 hours. That's all. Alice was a little bit overweight, but you're going to tell me to feed my dog a quarter cup of food for the entire 24 hours? I did it, and I wish I would have never done it. So the next morning, 8:39, we get up, and she's not herself. And she has these really weird, like she was doing that, and then she was like, really, I'm going to add those videos to the vlog because Daryl pointed out, and he said, look at her eyes. The life has left her. So that morning we get up, she doesn't walk, she doesn't eat. If I hand feed, if my dogs are sick and I hand feed them, they eat. But that morning when I got to the edge of the carpet, where the edge of the carpet, it's tan, and then the kitchen is white, she wouldn't come past the carpet. And then I told her, I said, it's okay, baby. I said, you can pee-pee and poo-poo in the house. I said, I'm not going to fuss at you. So she went back and laid down on her blanket. And then she gets up again, wanting some water. I had her bowls positioned to where all she had to do was just do this and this, and she was laying down and fine. About noon, she gets up, and about 10, I called the vet, and I was like, I need to bring Alice in there. I said, do y'all have anything this morning? I was like, something is wrong with her. They were going to charge me an emergency visit for that morning, even though they had openings. And I did call and find that out. I made an anonymous call and said, do you have any openings this morning for like an annual vaccination? And they said yes. Okay, but they're telling me they're going to charge me an emergency fee. Okay, right now, bitch, I don't care. I don't care. I want my dog taken care of. So then she said, well, I said, what's the price difference? She said, well, I forget how much it is. I've got it wrote down though. So then she says, oh, well, I'm sorry, I don't have any more until after 1 or 2 o'clock, I think it was. And yeah, 2:30. So by then, she had got up and she was bumping into everything. And I looked at Daryl and I was like, this is it. I said, she's gone. I know it's okay to have a blind dog. And I've had a blind dog. But where she is so active, that's not her. And she was whining because she couldn't see where she was going. And so I was handling her the way that I did my dog in the past. And I called out to the vet and I was like, we gotta bring Alice out there. I was like, she's completely blind. I said within a matter of 3 or 4 hours, she has went completely blind. And then here she goes on about this story. I said, I do not care. I said, we will be out there at 2:30. I took her out there. And they had to bring a stretcher out because she couldn't walk. She was laying in the front seat of the truck having seizures. And it's the most horrific thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm sorry to be such a big crybaby. But that dog was my life. She was my kid. And y'all know how much we loved her. And that's what the vet forgot. They didn't have just one patient. They had 3 patients. And that is the problem. So, they got on a stretcher and got her in. And now, this is another doctor we saw. And you guys know, because we said about it many times, and some of you have met us, but you didn't meet her because she run. In the truck on the way to the vet, she had peed and pooped all over herself in the truck, and I didn't care. The poop is still actually in the truck. And they got her in, and when we went in, the girl told us to go into one of the rooms and sit. The doctor came in there and he said, well, unfortunately, I don't have good news. And I said, where's my baby? He said, well, if you want to go with her, she's right over here. So I yanked that door open and went over there to her, and she was laying on the metal table. Not moving, not doing nothing. Her tail, she was laying on her left side. Her tail was hanging off the table. We walked in, and I bent over and I was kissing her. And I told the doctor, I was like, can she hear us? And he said, yeah, he said, she's in and out of it. And he said, but we do have a problem. And I looked up at him and I said, what's that? I said, she's gone physically. I was like, her mentally, she may be there a little bit, but she's gone. He gets those clamp scissors and takes her pinky toe and acts like he's going to pinch it to cause pain. I grabbed her and I pulled her to me. I said, do not hurt my baby. Because first off, that dog was terrified of everybody and every place. And if she could move, she would have got up off that table and ran. That right there was enough to prove to me that she was gone. He didn't need to try to inflict pain on her. No. Okay, so I am going to post the email where they talk crap about me. You can talk crap about me all you want, but you let my dog die. Her platelets were only 10,000. Why were we not told that? And that was before this. And so I was saying keywords to her that if she was there, she would respond. And I said, did y'all give her anything? And I think he said they gave her something to stop the seizures. But if we didn't keep giving it to her, she would keep seizuring, so she would never stop. But I was begging for her to die in the truck on the way to the vet. I didn't want her to die in the vet. So I told us, Alice, I said, guess what? It's just a couple more months and we're going to go swimming. And she opened her eye just a little bit, and she closed it. She wasn't moving her tail any. I paid attention to that. Daryl's standing behind me. He's looking at her medical charts on the monitor behind me. And it is noted more than once in her medical chart that she is terrified of people. So they had a well knowledge of that. And I told the doctor, I said, we got to put her down. I said, this is enough. I said, she's suffering. And he again, and I can't remember, but I think he said, I agree, that's the right decision. And so I went around and got behind her and started kissing her and talking to her. And I said, where's Daddy? I was like, you want Daddy? And she opened, she barely, her mouth was, her tongue just barely moved just a little bit. And so he came over there and he was kissing her, talking to her, loving on her. And then he put her to sleep. But to know that dog suffered her entire life of being in fear. We tried to get her to not fear stuff, that it's okay